2 months after visiting the man she'd been falling for, a routine test delivered a result that shattered her world. And when she called him, terrified, shaking, he didn't comfort her. He laughed, a cold laugh that told her she wasn't his first victim, and she wasn't meant to be the last. Welcome to True Crime Story HQ. Thanks to all my viewers and subscribers for your support. Stay tuned for daily true crime updates. Don't forget to subscribe. Catherine Wells had never imagined herself at 47, sitting alone in a 2-bedroom apartment, scrolling through a dating website she'd resisted for years. She'd been a teacher for 12 years, 4th grade. The kind of teacher parents requested by name. Patient, creative, the type who stayed late to help struggling students. Her classroom walls covered with student artwork and motivational posters about kindness. Her marriage ended 3 years ago. 15 years dissolved over differences that accumulated like dust. Quiet, barely noticed until suddenly everything felt suffocating. The divorce was amicable, exhausted. 2 people who'd simply run out of things to say to each other. She had 2 children, Megan, 22, working in marketing in Chicago. Tyler, 19, sophomore at UConn. Both busy with their own lives, as they should be. Phone calls growing shorter, visits less frequent. Catherine understood. This was growth. This was healthy. But the apartment felt enormous. Her best friend Maria had created the dating profile without permission. Showed up one evening with wine and a laptop, insisting Catherine needed to rejoin the world. Catherine protested. She wasn't ready. Would never be ready. The thought of small talk with strangers exhausted her. But Maria was persistent. "You're not dead, Catherine. You're just scared." Maybe that was true. The profile Maria created was simple, honest. A photo from her sister's wedding. Catherine in a blue dress, genuine smile, nothing provocative. The bio mentioned teaching, reading, hiking. No games, no casual relationships. The subtext clear, serious inquiries only. Catherine didn't expect anything. In fact, she barely checked the account for the first 2 weeks. When she finally logged in, there were 43 messages. Most made her immediately log back out. Generic. Clearly copied and pasted. Some inappropriately forward. Others misspelled to the point of incomprehensibility. She was about to delete the account entirely when Maria called. "Give it a real chance. 1 month. Actually read the messages. Respond to someone who seems decent. What's the worst that could happen?" Catherine didn't answer that question. She believed in caution, in taking things slowly, in protecting herself. She'd been married to one man for 15 years, faithful the entire time. Even after the divorce, even during the 3 years alone, she'd been with no one else. This wasn't morality. This was simply who she was. Loyalty mattered. Commitment mattered. So when she created boundaries for online dating, they were firm. She would talk to one person at a time. No juggling multiple conversations. No casual attitude toward intimacy. If she was going to do this, she'd do it with the same care she approached everything else in life. Her children knew she was trying to date. Megan encouraged it. Tyler seemed uncomfortable but supportive. Neither wanted their mother alone forever, though both probably wished she'd chosen a different method than online platforms they associated with their own generation. Catherine's evenings developed a rhythm. Grade papers. Make dinner for one. Clean up. Then sometimes she'd check the dating site. Most nights she just logged off immediately. The superficiality overwhelmed her. She wasn't looking for perfection. She was looking for substance. Someone who read profiles instead of just viewing photos. Someone who asked questions instead of making assumptions. Someone patient enough to understand that at 47, after a failed marriage, she needed time to trust. The apartment in suburban Connecticut was modest. 2 bedrooms, one now an office. Furniture from the marriage divided fairly. Photos of her children on the mantle, progressing from gap-toothed elementary school pictures to high school graduations. A bookshelf overflowing with novels and teaching resources. plants she sometimes forgot to water. This was her life. Stable, predictable, safe. Lonely, but safe. And then, on March 14th, 2019, a message arrived that seemed different from the others. The username was professional. The profile picture showed a man approximately her age, smiling naturally, dressed casually but neatly. The message wasn't about her appearance. It was about her profession. Catherine read it 3 times before responding. She had no way of knowing this message would be the last normal moment of her life. That the man behind those words had selected her deliberately. That she wasn't a potential partner. She was a target. And the hunt had already begun. But before we continue with Catherine's story, a story that will take us through deception, infection, and ultimately a confrontation that ends in death, if you're finding this documentary compelling, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others. Stories like Catherine's need to be heard. They need to reach people who might be in similar situations, who might be taking those same risks right now without knowing the danger. Your support helps us continue bringing these critical stories to light. Now, let's return to the man who was about to change Catherine's life forever. Darius Reed was 29 years old when Catherine Wells entered his life. To anyone observing, he appeared unremarkable. Middle management at a tech company. Well-groomed. Articulate. The kind of man who blended into office environments and coffee shops without attracting particular attention. But 7 years earlier, Darius had been someone completely different. At 22, he was a college senior studying business administration. He worked part-time at an upscale gym in downtown Boston, supplementing his income while finishing his degree. The job was simple: check memberships, wipe down equipment, occasionally assist with personal training sessions when short-staffed. She walked in on a Tuesday morning. Diane Holloway, 41 years old, divorced, successful corporate attorney. She wore expensive workout clothes and carried herself with the confidence of someone accustomed to being noticed. She noticed Darius immediately. It started with small things. Compliments on his form during workouts, questions about his studies, invitations for coffee after his shift. Darius was flattered. At 22, the attention from an older, sophisticated woman felt validating in ways his college relationships never had. Diane made him feel mature, important, desired. The affair lasted 3 months. Secret meetings at her condo. Expensive dinners she insisted on paying for. Conversations where she treated his opinions as valuable, not juvenile. Darius fell completely. He talked about leaving his girlfriend, about a future, about the possibility of something real. Diane smiled and changed the subject. In May of that year, Darius went to the campus health center for routine blood work required for graduation. The nurse called him back 3 days later. Her voice was carefully neutral. He needed to come in immediately. The diagnosis was HIV positive. Recent infection. The doctor explained transmission, treatment, prognosis. Darius sat in the chair, unable to process the words. He'd only been with 2 people. His girlfriend of 2 years, who tested negative, and Diane. He found her at the gym the following morning. His hands shook. His voice cracked. "Did you know?" Diane barely looked up from the treadmill. She adjusted her speed. "I thought you'd leave if I told you." No apology. No emotion. Just a simple calculation she'd made. "You should get tested regularly now," she added, as if discussing weather. She canceled her gym membership that afternoon, changed her phone number. When Darius tried to reach her at her law firm, he was told she wasn't taking calls. He never saw her again. The psychological destruction happened slowly. First came the medical appointments, learning about viral loads and CD4 counts and antiretroviral therapy. Then came the disclosure conversations, telling his girlfriend, watching her face collapse, telling his parents, hearing his mother cry, telling his friends, feeling the subtle distance that followed. But deeper than the medical reality was the betrayal. Diane had known, had decided his health, his future, his life mattered less than her convenience. She'd used his body without consent, and she'd felt nothing. For years, Darius tried to move forward. He graduated, started his career, took his medication, attended support groups, went to therapy. Everyone said he could live a normal life, except he couldn't forget. At 26, 4 years after the diagnosis, something shifted. He began researching. Not treatment. He knew treatment. He researched intentional transmission, legal cases where people had weaponized HIV, medical literature on viral loads and infection probability, forums where people discussed deliberately spreading the virus. He told himself he was just curious, just trying to understand what Diane had done to him. But understanding became planning. He created his first dating profile at 27, used a fake name, targeted women over 40. Not random selection, specific selection. Women like Diane, professional, confident, older. The type who pursued younger men and felt entitled to their attention. The first woman was named Rachel, 51, marketing executive, divorced. He courted her for 6 weeks, patient, attentive, everything she wanted. 1 weekend together, then he disappeared. She never knew. The second woman was named Patricia, 46, accountant, widowed, 8 weeks of messages, video calls, building trust, 1 trip to Boston. Then silence. She tested positive 3 months later, assumed it was her late husband, that the virus had been dormant for years. She never connected it to the man who'd ghosted her. By the time Catherine Wells entered the picture, Darius had perfected his method. He'd infected 14 women over 4 years. 3 were dead. 8 were on treatment. 3 never got tested, died of complications. Their infections never officially attributed to him. He kept a journal, documented each one, names, dates, details, not trophies, records, evidence of justice delivered. Because to Darius, this wasn't murder. This was balance. Every woman over 40 who trusted him, who believed he found her attractive, who thought she was special, every single one was Diane. And every single one deserved what Diane had done to him. He stopped taking his medication before encounters, maximized his viral load, researched optimal transmission timing, studied how to avoid detection, used VPNs, burner phones, cash payments, fake identification. He was methodical, patient, careful, and he had no intention of stopping. When Catherine Wells' profile appeared on his screen, he studied it carefully. 47 years old, teacher, divorced, cautious, the type who would resist initially but eventually trust, the type who believed in loyalty. Perfect. He crafted his first message with precision, read her profile thoroughly, identified connection points, made it personal. When he hit send, he already knew how it would end. She'd visit Boston. They'd spend a weekend together. He'd infect her, then he'd vanish. She'd spend the rest of her life wondering what she'd done wrong, just like he had. Justice, he told himself. But really, it was just cruelty, with a justification. March 14th, 2019, 3:47 in the afternoon. Catherine sat at her kitchen table grading spelling tests when her phone chimed. She almost ignored it. After 2 weeks of dating site notifications, mostly generic messages from men who clearly hadn't read beyond her photo, she'd learned to expect disappointment. But something made her check. The message was from someone named David Matthews. Profile picture showed a man close to her age, maybe early 40s, with an easy smile. Not professionally photographed. Just someone standing in what looked like a park, natural lighting, casual clothes. The message read, "I noticed you're a teacher. My mother taught 3rd grade for 30 years in Brookline. I think teachers are the most underappreciated professionals in our country. What grade do you teach?" Catherine read it twice. It wasn't revolutionary, but it was specific. Personal. He'd actually read her profile. And the question invited conversation without pressure. She clicked on his profile. David Matthews, 42, financial consultant in Boston. Divorced 3 years, no children. Interests included hiking, reading historical fiction, cooking. His bio was brief but well written. Looking for someone who values conversation as much as I do. Not interested in games, just genuine connection. No shirtless photos, no fish, no group shots where she'd have to guess which one he was. Just 3 clear pictures showing the same man in different settings, casual but put together. Catherine's friend Maria would approve. She waited 2 hours before responding, not game-playing, just caution, composing her reply carefully. 4th grade for 12 years now. Tell me about your mother. Did she love teaching, or did she count down to retirement like some of my colleagues? She hit send before she could overthink it. His response came 15 minutes later. She loved it until the end. Retired at 65 only because my father wanted to travel. She still volunteers at the school library. I think she missed the kids more than she expected. Do you feel that way? Like teaching becomes part of your identity? Catherine found herself smiling. This wasn't small talk. This was actual conversation. Absolutely. I can't imagine doing anything else. Even when I'm exhausted and covered in glue stick residue, and wondering why 28 9-year-olds need to use the bathroom simultaneously. His reply, "That's the laugh I needed today. Thank you." They messaged back and forth for the rest of the evening. Nothing too personal. Just easy conversation about work, family, interests. When Catherine finally said goodnight at 11, she realized she hadn't thought about grading papers or the empty apartment or her own loneliness for 3 hours. Just conversation. The next morning, there was a message waiting. "Good morning. Hope your students behave today, and that the bathroom situation is more manageable." Catherine laughed out loud. Over the following days, they developed a rhythm. Messages throughout the day. Never demanding, never overwhelming, just consistent presence. He asked questions, remembered details from previous conversations, shared his own stories without dominating the discussion. He mentioned his divorce casually, said it had been amicable but sad, that he and his ex-wife had simply grown into different people. The honesty felt refreshing after other men who'd either blamed their exes entirely or refused to discuss it at all. Catherine shared her own divorce story, the slow realization that she and her husband were living parallel lives instead of a shared one, the relief mixed with failure, the loneliness that followed. "I understand that completely," he wrote. "The hardest part is realizing you're lonely, even when you're not alone." Catherine stared at that message for a long time. Yes, exactly that. By the second week, they'd exchanged phone numbers. He called on a Wednesday evening, March 28th. Catherine paced her apartment beforehand, nervous in a way she hadn't been since high school. His voice matched his messages. Warm. Easy. He laughed genuinely at her stories about her students, shared his own work frustrations without complaining excessively, asked about her children, listened when she talked. The call lasted 47 minutes. When they hung up, Catherine felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. They video called for the first time on April 2nd. Catherine spent 20 minutes choosing what to wear, casual but not sloppy, attractive but not trying too hard. She settled on a simple sweater. When his face appeared on screen, it matched his photos. No catfishing, no disappointing reality. Just the man who'd been messaging her for 3 weeks. They talked about everything. Movies, politics, family, past relationships. He was vulnerable about his struggles after divorce. The therapy he'd tried, the loneliness he'd worked through, the fear of starting over. Catherine found herself opening up in ways she hadn't expected, about feeling invisible sometimes, about wondering if she'd missed her chance at companionship, about the fear that being cautious meant being alone forever. "I don't think you're too cautious," he said. "I think you're appropriately cautious. The world needs more of that, honestly." By mid-April, they were talking daily, video calls several times a week. He sent her articles he thought she'd enjoy. She sent him photos of her students' art projects. Their conversations deepened, became familiar, comfortable. Maria asked if Catherine had met him in person yet. Not yet, but soon maybe. "Be careful," Maria warned. But her tone was hopeful, not worried. Catherine was careful. She'd Googled his phone number. Came back clean. Reverse image searched his photos. No matches to other profiles. asked detailed questions about his work, his life, his past. Everything checked out. On April 20th, he sent a message that made Catherine's heart race. "I know this might seem fast, but I'd love to meet you in person. No pressure. I can come to Connecticut, or if you're comfortable, you could visit Boston. Either way. I just feel like we have something worth exploring beyond screens." Catherine read the message 5 times, called Maria, thought about it for 3 days, and then, on April 23rd, she typed her response. "I'd love to visit Boston. I've never been, actually." His reply was immediate. "Really? Then I get to show you my favorite city. This is going to be wonderful, Catherine." She smiled at her phone, unaware that wonderful was the last word that would ever describe what was coming. "Now, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching this documentary from? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you've made it to this point in Catherine's story, if you're still here following every twist of this tragic tale, leave a comment saying, 'I am still here.' Let's see how many of you are committed to hearing the truth about what happened next, because what comes next will test everything you think you know about trust, revenge, and justice. Let's continue. The first week of their courtship established patterns that would define everything that followed. Darius messaged Catherine every morning, never demanding, just present. "Hope today's lesson plans go smoothly," or "thinking about our conversation last night." Small gestures that made her feel remembered. Catherine reciprocated cautiously. She'd been burned before, not by infidelity, but by neglect. Her ex-husband had stopped seeing her years before the divorce. This attention felt foreign but welcome. By the second week, their conversations deepened. Darius asked about her marriage, not prying, genuinely curious about what had gone wrong. "We stopped being curious about each other," Catherine explained during a phone call. "Just roommates managing logistics. When's the electric bill due? Who's picking up Tyler from practice? We forgot to be people to each other." "That's the saddest kind of ending," Darius said. "Not dramatic, just fading." Exactly. He shared his own story. His marriage had ended after 7 years. His ex-wife wanted children. He wasn't ready. The disagreement became a chasm neither could cross. They divorced amicably but sadly. The story was fiction. Darius had never been married, but Catherine had no reason to doubt him. Video calls became regular, 3 times a week, then 5. Catherine found herself looking forward to them, choosing outfits, fixing her hair, small vanities she'd abandoned after her divorce. Darius was patient, never pushed for anything physical, never made inappropriate comments. When Catherine mentioned feeling self-conscious about aging, he responded thoughtfully. 47 isn't old, it's experienced. I'm not interested in 25-year-olds who don't know who they are yet. I want someone who's lived, who has stories, who isn't still figuring out basic things about themselves. Catherine saved that message. He told her about his work, financial consulting for small businesses, helping restaurants and retail shops manage their finances. It sounded noble, helpful. He painted himself as someone who cared about supporting local economies. All lies. He worked in IT support. But the fabrication served a purpose. It explained flexible schedules and occasional travel. Catherine shared stories about her students. The boy who'd finally mastered multiplication tables after months of struggle. The girl whose parents were divorcing and acted out daily. Darius listened attentively, asked follow-up questions, remembered names. "You really care about them," he observed. "They're children." "Of course I care. Not everyone does. My mother always said teaching wasn't a job, it was a calling. I see that in you." These moments built trust brick by brick. In early May, they had a conversation that shifted everything. Catherine mentioned feeling invisible sometimes, not just to men, to everyone. Society stopped seeing women past a certain age. "I see you," Darius said. His voice was quiet, serious. "I see someone intelligent, kind, thoughtful. Someone who chose a profession helping children instead of making money." Someone who's been through pain and came out compassionate instead of bitter. I see all of that, Catherine cried, not dramatically. Just quiet tears she wiped away quickly. Thank you, she whispered. Darius smiled through the screen. Inside, he felt nothing. These words were tools, carefully selected, strategically deployed. He'd learned what lonely women needed to hear. Validation, recognition, the promise they weren't forgotten. He'd used the same words 13 times before. April 20th, 2019. The invitation arrived as a text message at 9:15 in the morning. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I don't want to wait anymore. Would you consider visiting Boston? I'd love to show you the city. We could have dinner, walk around, just be in the same space. No pressure. Separate hotel rooms. Just time together. Catherine stared at the message for 3 full minutes. Her first instinct was caution. They'd only been talking for 5 weeks. Was this too fast? Was she being naive? But another part of her, the part that had been lonely for 3 years, wanted to say yes immediately. She called Maria instead. He wants me to visit Boston. What do you want to do? I don't know. Is 5 weeks enough time to know someone? Maria was quiet. Then, you've been talking every day for 5 weeks. That's more communication than some married couples have. But only you can decide if you're ready. Catherine created a list. Pros and cons. Logical. Methodical. Teaching mind applied to personal decisions. Pros. They connected deeply. He'd been respectful, patient. Every conversation felt genuine. She needed to know if the online chemistry translated to real life. Cons. They'd never met. He could be different in person. She could be putting herself in danger. But wasn't that always the risk? Meeting anyone involved trust. She researched him thoroughly. Again. Google searches, LinkedIn profile check, reverse image search on his photos, phone number verification. Everything pointed to a legitimate person living a legitimate life. She found his company website, Tech Core Solutions, saw his name listed under IT support staff. The job title didn't match what he'd told her, financial consultant versus IT support, but companies often had confusing structures. Maybe he consulted on financial software. She didn't press the discrepancy. Red flags she missed. The photos on his LinkedIn were different angles of the same professional headshot. The company website had been created recently. The phone number connected to a prepaid account. But Catherine wasn't a detective. She was a 4th grade teacher trying to trust again. 3 days later, she sent her response. I'd love to visit. Thank you for being so patient with me. His reply came within minutes. You've made my day. I promise you'll feel safe and comfortable the entire time. When works for your schedule? They settled on May 17th through 19th, a weekend. Friday evening through Sunday afternoon. Catherine arranged a substitute teacher, told her principal she needed personal time, booked her flight. Darius handled everything else with disturbing precision. He'd already scouted hotels, needed somewhere public but intimate. Settled on the Fairmont Copley Plaza, upscale enough to feel special, busy enough that Catherine would feel safe. Booked 2 rooms on different floors. He sent Catherine the confirmation. Your room is 812. Mine is 604. Completely separate. I want you to have your own space. The gesture seemed thoughtful, respectful. Reality. He'd requested rooms with different numbers to seem appropriate. He had no intention of using his room. He researched restaurants. Catherine mentioned loving seafood. He chose Neptune Oyster in the North End. Small, romantic, excellent reviews. Made reservations for Friday night. 7 o'clock. Planned their Saturday activities. Freedom Trail Walk. Public Garden. Boston Common. Public spaces. Nothing isolated. Everything designed to make her comfortable. His apartment needed preparation. He deep cleaned. Removed anything that might reveal his true life. Took down photos that showed inconsistencies. Cleared his medicine cabinet of antiretroviral medications. Left only generic items. Aspirin, vitamins, allergy medicine. Created a backstory for every visible item. That book on the shelf? Gift from his mother. That painting? Bought during a trip to Maine. Every detail supported the character he'd created. Most importantly, he tracked his viral load obsessively. May 1st, he'd stopped his medication. By May 10th, his viral load had increased significantly. By May 15th, testing confirmed optimal infectiousness. Everything timed perfectly for maximum transmission probability. His journal entry from May 15th. Subject 14. Arriving in 2 days. Catherine Wells, 47. Elementary teacher, Connecticut. Divorced. 2 adult children. Profile indicates careful personality, traditional values, monogamous relationship history. Courtship required 5 weeks, longer than usual due to her caution. Excellent candidate. Infection probability high given viral load timing and her lack of recent sexual activity. Post-exposure will maintain contact for 72 hours, then initiate standard ghosting protocol. Estimated diagnosis timeline, late June to early July. Clinical, cold. Catherine was never a person to him. Just subject 14. He prepared emotionally too. Reminded himself why he was doing this. Thought about Diane. The betrayal. The diagnosis. The years of living with something he never consented to. Every woman over 40 deserved to understand that feeling. Deserved to know what it felt like when someone used your body as a weapon. This wasn't murder. This was education. He believed that completely. May 16th evening, he did a final check. Apartment perfect. Reservations. Confirmed. Phone charged. Car clean. He'd rented a modest sedan for the weekend. His actual car was too old. Too beat up. First impressions mattered. Set his alarm for 2:30. Catherine's flight landed at 3:47. He needed to be at baggage claim with flowers. The flowers mattered. Yellow roses. Cheerful. Not romantic red. Everything calculated. He slept easily. No guilt. No second thoughts. Just anticipation of a plan executing perfectly. Catherine, in Connecticut, barely slept. Excited. Nervous. She texted Maria at midnight. Can't sleep. Is this crazy? Maria. It's brave. You deserve this. Catherine smiled in the darkness. Neither woman knew that across 4 states, a predator was sleeping peacefully, dreaming of destruction disguised as romance. If you're finding value in this story, if it's opening your eyes to the dangers that exist in online dating, if it's making you think twice about how trust can be weaponized, then please, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your loved ones. This story could protect someone you care about from experiencing the same tragedy that's about to unfold for Catherine. Share it. Spread awareness. Help us reach people who need to hear this message. Now let's witness the weekend that would destroy Catherine's life. Friday, May 17th. 3:47 in the afternoon. Logan International Airport. Catherine emerged from security with her small roller bag, scanning the crowd. Her heart hammered. 5 weeks of conversation about to become reality. She'd changed her outfit twice on the plane. Settled on dark jeans and a simple blouse. Casual but put together. Then she saw him. Darius stood near baggage claim, holding yellow roses. He looked exactly like his photos. Maybe slightly younger than she expected, but genuine. No jarring disconnect between digital and physical. Their eyes met. He smiled, walked toward her. Catherine? Hi. Her voice came out smaller than intended. These are for you. He handed her the flowers. Welcome to Boston. The hug was brief, appropriate. His cologne was subtle. Everything about the moment felt normal, safe. Catherine exhaled tension she didn't realize she'd been holding. How was your flight? Smooth. I'm a terrible flyer, so smooth is all I ask for. He laughed. Genuine. Warm. Then I'm glad it cooperated. Let me grab your bag. The walk to his car filled with easy conversation. He pointed out landmarks through the terminal. Asked if she was hungry. Confirmed dinner reservations. Every word designed to put her at ease. It worked. The drive to her hotel took 20 minutes. Boston traffic. Darius apologized for the congestion. Catherine didn't mind. She watched the city pass outside her window. Brick buildings, narrow streets, history everywhere. "I've never been to Boston," she admitted. "Then I get to show you everything. That's a gift, actually. Seeing a city through someone's first-time eyes." They arrived at the hotel. He carried her bag to the lobby, waited while she checked in. When she returned with her room key, he smiled. "Take your time getting settled. I'll meet you back here at 6:30. We have 7 o'clock reservations, but I thought we could walk through the public garden first. It's beautiful this time of year." "That sounds perfect." He left. No lingering, no pressure. Catherine rode the elevator to the 8th floor, found her room, spacious, clean, view of Copley Square. She set the roses in water from the bathroom sink, called Maria. "I'm here. He's exactly like I expected. Normal. Nice." "Good. Check in tomorrow, okay?" "I will." Catherine showered, changed into a dress. Nothing fancy. Just a simple navy dress she'd packed carefully. Applied makeup. Looked at herself in the mirror. 47. Lines around her eyes. Gray strands she'd stopped bothering to dye. But she looked happy. Hopeful. 6:30 arrived quickly. She met Darius in the lobby. His eyes widened slightly when he saw her. "You look beautiful." "Thank you." She blushed. Actually blushed, like a teenager. They walked through the public garden as dusk approached. Swan boats gliding across the pond, couples on benches, families feeding ducks. Darius told her about the garden's history, the Victorian design, the famous sculptures. Catherine listened, enjoying his enthusiasm. Their hands brushed. Accidentally at first, then intentionally. His fingers found hers. She didn't pull away. Dinner at Neptune Oyster was everything he'd promised. Intimate, but not isolated. They sat at a small table near the window, ordered oysters and scallops, shared a bottle of wine. Conversation flowed effortlessly. Catherine talked about teaching, her students' personalities, the challenges of modern education. Darius listened attentively, asked questions, remembered details from their previous conversations. He talked about his work, the satisfaction of helping small businesses succeed. Catherine noticed his passion, didn't realize every word was fiction, that the stories were carefully constructed, that the man across from her existed only for this weekend. After dinner, they walked through the North End. Cobblestone streets, old brick buildings, romantic without being obviously so. Catherine felt content. This was what she'd hoped for. Connection, ease, someone who saw her. "Thank you for this," she said. "For being patient, for letting me take my time." "You're worth the wait," Darius replied. He meant it to sound sincere. It did. They returned to her hotel at 10, stood in the lobby. The goodnight moment. "Tomorrow," he said. "I thought we could walk the Freedom Trail. Then maybe lunch at my apartment? I make a decent pasta. Nothing fancy." "I'd love that." He kissed her cheek. Brief. Appropriate. "Sleep well, Catherine." She watched him leave. Rode the elevator feeling lighter than she had in years. Saturday morning. They met for breakfast at a cafe near his apartment. Then the Freedom Trail. 3 hours of walking through history. Revolutionary War sites. Paul Revere's house. Old North Church. Catherine loved it. Darius played the perfect tour guide. Lunch at his apartment. 3rd floor walk-up in Dorchester. Modest but clean. Bookshelves. Plants. Photos he'd carefully staged. Everything designed to suggest a normal, stable life. He cooked pasta with marinara. They ate on his small balcony. Talked about everything. Family. Dreams. Regrets. Catherine shared things she hadn't told anyone. Her fear of dying alone. Her worry that she'd missed her chance at happiness. "You haven't missed anything," Darius said. "You're right where you're supposed to be." The afternoon stretched into evening. A movie on his couch, comfortable silence, his arm around her shoulders, her head against his chest, physical intimacy building naturally, or seeming to. Every touch was calculated, every moment orchestrated. Darius had done this 13 times before. He knew exactly how to make a woman feel safe, desired, special. The kiss happened around 7. Natural progression. Catherine initiated it. Darius responded, gentle at first, then deeper. "Catherine," he whispered, "are you sure?" She was. God help her, she was. What happened next felt consensual. Catherine believed she was making love to someone who cared about her, someone she trusted, someone who saw her as more than invisible. Darius knew he was committing assault, weaponizing intimacy, every touch designed for maximum transmission probability. No protection, no disclosure, just calculated infection. His viral load was perfectly optimized, his technique deliberate, everything timed for one purpose. Catherine spent the night, woke Sunday morning in his arms, felt cherished, believed this was the beginning of something real. Darius felt nothing except satisfaction. 14 successful transmissions, the pattern unbroken. Sunday morning, he made her breakfast, drove her to the airport, kissed her goodbye, promised to call that evening. "This was perfect," Catherine said. "Thank you. Thank you for taking a chance on me." She walked into the terminal, turned back once, waved. He waved back. Then she was gone. Darius drove home, deleted his dating profile, scheduled his phone number for cancellation, threw away the burner phone, cleaned his apartment of any evidence of Catherine's presence. Subject 14. Complete. By the time Catherine landed in Connecticut, she no longer existed to him. She texted that evening, "Made it home, missing you already." The message never delivered. Monday, May 20th. Catherine woke feeling lighter than she had in years. The weekend had been everything she'd hoped for: connection, chemistry, the possibility of something real. She texted Darius before school. "Hope you have a great day at work. Still thinking about this weekend." The message showed as delivered. No response by lunch. Catherine wasn't worried. He'd mentioned a big project. At work. Busy Monday. She understood. By evening, still nothing. She sent another text. "Everything okay?" Delivered, but unread. Tuesday morning she tried calling. The phone rang 4 times, then went to a generic voicemail. "The number you have reached is not available." Strange. Maybe his phone died. Maybe he was in meetings all day. Catherine forced herself not to catastrophize. Tuesday evening, she called again. Different message this time. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." Catherine's stomach dropped. She checked his dating profile. Gone. Deleted. Panic started creeping in. She tried his email, the address they'd used to coordinate travel plans. The message bounced back. Address not found. Wednesday morning, Catherine sat at her kitchen table, coffee growing cold, trying to make sense of what was happening. Had something happened to him? An accident? A medical emergency? She Googled his name and Boston. Found nothing relevant. Tried searching his company, TechCore Solutions. The website existed but looked generic. No employee directory. No way to verify he actually worked there. She called Maria, voice shaking. "He's gone. His phone is disconnected. His profile is deleted. His email doesn't work. I don't understand." "Oh, Catherine." Maria's voice was gentle. I think you got ghosted." "But why? The weekend was perfect. We connected. I felt it. It was real." "I'm so sorry." Catherine spent Wednesday crying. Not heartbroken. She hadn't known him long enough for that. But humiliated. Confused. What had she done wrong? Was she not attractive enough in person? Did she say something inappropriate? Was the physical intimacy disappointing? She analyzed every conversation, every moment, searching for the mistake, the thing that made him disappear. Thursday. She tried one more time, different approach. She sent an email to his supposed work email, found on the company website. "I just want to know you're okay. If you've changed your mind about us, I understand, but please just let me know you're safe." The email bounced. Friday, Catherine went to work operating on autopilot. Her students noticed, asked if she was okay. She smiled and lied. "Just tired." That evening, she sat in her apartment, staring at the yellow roses. They were dying now, petals dropping. She should throw them away. Instead, she left them on the counter. Physical evidence that the weekend had actually happened, that she hadn't imagined everything. She told her children about the trip, mentioned meeting someone. Now she'd have to explain it didn't work out, face their pity, or worse, their judgment about online dating dangers. Maria visited Saturday, brought wine. Let Catherine talk through everything again, every detail of the weekend, searching for clues. "It felt real," Catherine kept saying. "He seemed genuinely interested, genuinely kind. How do you fake that for an entire weekend? Some people are good liars. But why? If he just wanted sex, why the elaborate courtship? Why not just say so? Why make me feel seen?" Maria had no answers. Sunday night, Catherine made a decision. She wouldn't tell her children, wouldn't tell her co-workers, wouldn't tell anyone beyond Maria. The humiliation was too much. She'd made a fool of herself, trusted too quickly, believed too easily. She deleted his texts, his emails, every evidence of him from her phone except one photo Maria had taken Friday night when they'd video chatted. Catherine standing in her hotel room, smiling, holding the yellow roses, happy. She looked at that photo for a long time, then deleted it too. Monday, she returned to work determined to move forward. Forget about David Matthews. Forget about the weekend. Forget about the possibility of connection. She'd tried. It failed. She'd survive. What she didn't know, the virus was already replicating inside her, spreading through her bloodstream, her immune system beginning its futile fight. What she didn't know, the fatigue she attributed to stress was actually the first symptom, her body's warning system activating. What she didn't know, Darius Reed was already courting victim 15. Different name, different photos, same pattern. What she didn't know, she wasn't heartbroken. She was infected, and she wouldn't discover the truth for 6 more weeks. Thank you for your incredible support in watching this documentary. This channel exists because of viewers like you who care about these stories, who want to understand how predators operate, and who believe in spreading awareness to protect others. If you're finding value in this content, please consider joining our YouTube membership today. Your membership unlocks exclusive behind-the-scenes content, early access to new documentaries, and detailed analysis that we can't include in public videos. June 3, 2019, 2 weeks post-exposure. Catherine woke feeling exhausted despite sleeping 9 hours. She attributed it to end-of-school-year stress. Final exams, grade submissions, report cards. Teacher fatigue was normal in June. By afternoon, she was struggling to keep her eyes open. Students noticed. "Ms. Wells, are you sick?" "Just tired, sweetie. Finals week is tiring for everyone." She went home and slept until 7, woke disoriented, made dinner she barely touched. Back to bed by 9. June 5th. Low-grade fever, 99.8. She took ibuprofen, assumed she was catching whatever virus was circulating through her classroom. Elementary schools were petri dishes. Occupational hazard. June 7th. Night sweats. She woke at 3 in the morning, sheet soaked. Changed her pajamas. Went back to sleep. Happened again at 5. This was more than classroom germs. June 9th. Her lymph nodes swelled. Neck. Armpits. Painful to touch. She called out sick. First sick day she'd taken all year. Spent the day in bed, alternating between chills and fever. Her daughter called. "Mom, you sound terrible." "Just a bad flu. I'll be fine." "Should I come home?" "No, honey. I'm okay. Just need rest." June 11th. A rash appeared on her chest and back. Red, spotted, not itchy, just there. Catherine stared at it in the bathroom mirror. What kind of flu caused this? She made a doctor's appointment. June 14th, Friday afternoon, last day of school. She'd power through the final hours, then get checked out. The doctor examined her quickly. Looks like a viral infection. Probably picked something up from your students. Rest, fluids, over-the-counter fever reducers. Should clear up in a week. Catherine wanted to believe him. Should I be worried about the rash? Viral rashes are common. I'd only worry if it spreads to your face or becomes painful. He didn't order additional tests. Why would he? She was a 47-year-old teacher, monogamous, low risk. No reason to suspect anything beyond a bad flu. Catherine went home, followed his advice. Rest, fluids. Waited to feel better. She didn't. Week 3 post-exposure. Symptoms intensified. The fatigue became profound. Getting out of bed felt like climbing a mountain. She canceled plans with Maria. Stopped answering her children's calls. Just texted brief updates. Still sick. Don't worry. She lost weight. Not trying. Just no appetite. Food tasted wrong. Her clothes hung looser. Colleagues who stopped by with get-well cards noticed. Catherine, you look so thin. Are you eating? Trying. Everything makes me nauseous. June 20th. A colleague suggested something. My sister had mono in college. Your symptoms sound similar. Did your doctor test for that? Mono. That made sense. Explained everything. Catherine called her doctor's office, requested a mono test. The nurse said they could add it to her file, but she'd need to come in. June 21st. Back at the doctor. Different physician this time. Dr. Sarah Patel. Younger. More thorough. She reviewed Catherine's symptoms, asked more questions. Any recent changes in your life? Stress? New relationships? Catherine hesitated. I went on a trip. In May. Met someone from online. Dr. Patel's expression shifted. Professional but alert. Were you intimate with this person? Catherine's face burned. Yes. I'd like to run a full panel, mono, but also screening for other infections, STIs, just to be thorough. It's routine. Is that really necessary? It was just one weekend. One time is all it takes. I'm not suggesting anything happened. I just want to rule everything out. Catherine agreed. Blood work, urine sample, swabs. The nurse was efficient and kind. Explained each test. Results in 5 to 7 days. We'll call you. Catherine left feeling paranoid. This was excessive. She'd been with one person, one weekend. He'd seemed healthy, fine, normal. This was just a bad flu that wouldn't quit. But doubt crept in. Why had he ghosted her? Why disappear so completely? What if... No. She stopped that thought. She couldn't go. There. Wouldn't. The wait was excruciating. 5 days. 6 days. She checked her phone constantly, jumped every time it rang, hoped for answers, dreaded them simultaneously. Week 4 post-exposure. Symptoms plateaued, still exhausted, still fevered, but not worse. Catherine clung to that. Not worse meant healing. Eventually, she Googled her symptoms. Mistake. The internet suggested everything from mono to leukemia to HIV. She slammed the laptop shut. Doctors went to medical school for a reason. She'd wait for actual results, not WebMD speculation. June 28, Friday afternoon. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Ms. Wells, this is Dr. Patel's office. The doctor would like you to come in to discuss your results. Are you available Monday? Can't you just tell me over the phone? The doctor prefers to discuss results in person. Catherine's blood went cold. Good news came over the phone. Everything's negative. Have a nice day. In-person meetings meant problems. What time Monday? 2 o'clock? I'll be there. Catherine hung up, sat on her couch, stared at nothing. Her mind raced through possibilities. What required an in-person meeting? What was so serious she needed to sit in a doctor's office to hear it? The weekend crawled by. 60 hours of waiting. Imagining. Googling symptoms despite knowing better. Reading about various infections and diseases and conditions. None felt right. All felt terrifying. Sunday night she didn't sleep. Lay in bed watching the ceiling, thinking about the weekend in Boston. Darius's kindness, his attention, his touch. Had she missed something? Some sign? Some warning? No. He'd seemed healthy, fine, normal. But he'd disappeared, completely. Why? Monday, July 1st. Catherine showered, dressed, drove to the doctor's office operating on 2 hours of sleep and pure anxiety. The nurse called her back immediately. No wait, never a good sign. Led her to a private room, not an exam room, a consultation room, chairs instead of exam table, box of tissues prominently placed. Catherine's hands shook. Dr. Patel entered. Her expression was carefully neutral, professional sympathy. Ms. Wells, thank you for coming in. I want to talk to you about your test results. Catherine couldn't speak, just nodded. Your HIV test came back reactive. The world tilted. The words didn't process immediately. Catherine heard them. HIV test came back reactive. But they existed in abstract space, sounds without meaning. Dr. Patel continued talking. Catherine watched her mouth move, caught fragments. Recent infection. Antibodies present. Need to start treatment immediately. Wait. Catherine's voice came from somewhere far away. I don't understand. HIV, that's not... I haven't... Based on your symptoms and timeline, this appears to be acute HIV infection. Very recent exposure. The person you were with in May... No. Catherine shook her head. No. He was... We were careful. He seemed healthy. He wouldn't... HIV doesn't have visible symptoms in most people, especially those on treatment. But if someone is untreated or has stopped treatment, they can transmit the virus. The room spun. Catherine gripped the armrests of her chair. I'm going to die. No. Listen to me, Catherine. With modern antiretroviral therapy, HIV is manageable. People live normal lifespans. This is not a death sentence. But we need to start treatment immediately. My children. Catherine's voice cracked. How do I tell my children? We'll help you through that. But first, let's talk about your immediate next steps. Dr. Patel explained viral loads, CD4 counts, antiretroviral therapy. Undetectable equals untransmittable. The science of survival. Catherine heard maybe 30% of it. The rest disappeared into static. How long? Catherine asked. How long have I had this? Based on your symptom timeline, approximately 4 to 5 weeks. Infection likely occurred mid-May. The weekend. The only person she'd been with in 3 years. David. The man who'd seemed so kind. Who'd made her feel seen. Who'd disappeared without explanation. Did he know? Catherine whispered. Did he know he had it? I can't answer that. But you need to contact him. He needs to be tested. And anyone else he's been with needs to be notified. I can't find him. He's gone. Phone disconnected, profile deleted, email bounced, everything gone. Dr. Patel's expression shifted. Understanding. Anger. That's concerning. Very concerning. You need to file a police report. If he intentionally transmitted HIV, that's a crime. Catherine couldn't process that. Crime, police, legal system. All of it felt surreal, like a television show about someone else's life. Dr. Patel handed her paperwork. Prescriptions, referrals to infectious disease specialists, counseling resources, support groups, a stack of pamphlets with titles like Living with HIV and Understanding Your Diagnosis. Take these medications starting today. Don't miss doses. Ever. Your viral load is very high right now because the infection is acute. Treatment will suppress it. Within a few months, you should be undetectable. Undetectable means I don't have it anymore? No. It means the virus is suppressed to levels where it can't be transmitted and won't damage your immune system. You'll always have HIV, but you can live a completely normal life. Normal. Catherine wanted to laugh. Nothing would ever be normal again. She drove home operating on autopilot, pulled into her parking space, sat in the car, stared at the steering wheel. The prescription bag sat in the passenger seat. Physical evidence that this wasn't a nightmare. She had HIV. At 47, a fourth-grade teacher, a mother, someone who'd been with one person in 3 years, someone who'd been careful, except she hadn't been careful enough. She went inside, set the prescriptions on the counter, looked at them. 3 bottles, morning dose, evening dose, every single day for the rest of her life. Her phone rang. Megan. Catherine let it go to voicemail. She couldn't talk to her daughter, couldn't lie, couldn't tell the truth. Not yet. She opened her laptop, Googled intentional HIV transmission, found cases, people who'd knowingly infected partners, some prosecuted, some not. The pattern was sickeningly familiar. Target vulnerable people, build trust, infect, disappear. Was that what happened to her? Had David, if that was even his name, done this deliberately? The ghosting suddenly made horrible sense. He'd disappeared because he knew. He'd infected her and vanished before she could discover the truth. Rage bubbled up, pure, hot, different from the shock and fear. This was fury. He'd used her body without consent, given her a virus she'd carry forever, destroyed her health, her future, her ability to trust, and then disappeared like she was nothing, like her life didn't matter. Catherine grabbed her phone, called Maria. When her friend answered, Catherine said 3 words, "I have HIV." Maria drove over immediately, held Catherine while she cried, didn't ask how, didn't judge, just held her. Eventually, Catherine explained. The diagnosis, the timeline, the realization that David had done this, that he'd known, that he'd vanished precisely because he'd known. "We're going to find him," Maria said. Her voice was steel. "And we're going to make sure he never does this to anyone else." "How? I don't even know his real name. Everything was fake." "Then we get help. Private investigator, police, something. Catherine, this is assault. This is a crime." Catherine nodded, numb. The anger had burned itself out. Now just emptiness, exhaustion, the weight of everything that had just changed. She was HIV positive, at 47, because she'd trusted the wrong person, because a man had weaponized intimacy, because cruelty sometimes wore the mask of kindness. She took her first dose of antiretrovirals that evening, swallowed the pills with water, started the rest of her life as someone different, someone damaged, someone carrying a virus that would never leave. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. Same face, same body, but fundamentally altered, infected. The word felt ugly, shameful, even though she knew she had nothing to be ashamed of. This wasn't her fault, but it was her life now. And somewhere out there, the man who'd done this was already targeting someone else, already building trust with victim 15, already planning another weekend that would end with another woman's world collapsing. Catherine decided something in that moment. She would find him, and she would stop him. July 5th, 2019. Catherine sat across from a private investigator named Robert Chen. His office was small but professional, certificates on the wall, decades of experience. She'd found him through Maria's recommendation. Someone discreet, thorough, expensive. Catherine didn't care about the cost. Her savings account existed for emergencies. This qualified. "Tell me everything," Robert said. "From the beginning." Catherine walked him through it. The dating site, 5 weeks of messages, the weekend in Boston, the ghosting, the diagnosis, every detail she could remember. Robert took notes, didn't interrupt, didn't judge. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. "I need everything you have, screenshots of conversations, photos, phone numbers, email addresses, the dating platform he used, hotel information, restaurant receipts, anything." Catherine handed him a folder. She'd compiled everything, printed every text message, every email, The few photos from the weekend, the hotel confirmation, even the credit card statement showing the charge from Neptune Oyster. Robert reviewed the materials carefully. This phone number, did you try reverse lookup? Yes, it's a burner, prepaid. Email address? Bounced. Domain doesn't exist anymore. Dating profile? Deleted the Sunday I left Boston. Robert nodded. He's sophisticated, but everyone makes mistakes. Give me a week. Catherine left feeling simultaneously hopeful and hopeless. How do you find someone who doesn't want to be found? Someone who'd clearly done this before? Someone who'd covered his tracks perfectly? But she had to try. That evening, she made another decision. She needed to find other victims. If Darius, if that was even close to his real name, had done this to her, he'd done it to others. Women like her. Lonely. Trusting. Over 40. She created a throwaway email account, posted in several Boston Dating Over 40 Facebook groups. Vague but specific. Looking for women who met someone online, traveled to Boston for a weekend between 2015-2019, then got ghosted immediately after. Please message privately. Important. The responses came faster than expected. July 7th. 3 women reached out, each with eerily similar stories, different names, different photos, same pattern. Courtship lasting weeks, 1 weekend in Boston, ghosting, and in 2 cases, HIV diagnosis months later. Catherine arranged to meet them. July 15th, a coffee shop in Cambridge, neutral territory. The women arrived separately. Jessica Chen, 51. Rebecca Santos, 46. Angela Morrison, 49. They sat around a corner table, 4 women who'd never met but shared the same wound. I met him in March 2018, Jessica began. He called himself Michael Reynolds, financial consultant. We talked for 2 months before I visited. The weekend was perfect. Then nothing. Diagnosed with HIV that May. Never connected them until your post. Rebecca went next. September 2017. Daniel Foster. Same job. Same city. I got diagnosed in December. Thought it was from my ex-husband. An old infection I'd never known about. Never suspected the weekend. Angela's voice shook. June 2018. David Matthews. Same name Catherine got. Different photos though. 1 weekend. Ghosted. Diagnosed September. They compared photos on their phones. Different images, but unmistakably the same person. Same eyes. Same jawline. Professional photography. Different angles and lighting, but identical bone structure. How many of us are there? Rebecca whispered. Catherine didn't answer. She didn't want to imagine. July 16th. Robert called. I found something. Not much, but something. The hotel has security footage. I got access through a contact. Your guy paid cash for his room, but the camera caught his license plate leaving the restaurant Friday night. Ran it. Registered to a Darius Reed. Dorchester address. Catherine's hands shook. You found him? I found a name and address. Whether he's still there, I don't know. But it's a starting point. Catherine gave the information to Detective Sarah Chen of Boston PD. Filed an official police report. Intentional HIV transmission. Multiple victims. Predatory pattern. Detective Chen took the case seriously. This is complicated. Proving intentional transmission is difficult. But with multiple victims and the ghosting pattern, we have a case. I'll need statements from everyone. The 4 women provided detailed statements, timelines, evidence, medical records, dating profiles, screenshots they'd saved, everything they had. Detective Chen's investigation moved quickly. She subpoenaed Darius Reed's medical records, found his HIV diagnosis from 2012, treatment history showing deliberate medication stops before each dating profile creation, viral load tests proving he'd maximized infectiousness before encounters. She searched his apartment in Dorchester. He'd already cleared out, abandoned his lease, left behind almost nothing. Almost. In a storage unit registered under his name, they found a laptop, encrypted but not impossible to crack. The tech team worked on it for days. August 10th. The laptop revealed everything. Dating profiles, dozens, different names, different photos, all targeting women over 40. Conversations saved, timelines documented, and most damning, a journal. 14 entries, each woman named, dated, described, clinical details about infection probability, satisfaction ratings of their suffering, zero remorse, only cold calculation and triumph. Catherine's entry was there. Subject 14, Catherine Wells, elementary teacher, Connecticut. Courtship required 5 weeks due to caution. Transmission probability high. Successful infection anticipated. Detective Chen showed Catherine the journal. Catherine read her entry, the clinical language, the reduction of her entire existence to Subject 14, the satisfaction in successful infection anticipated. She vomited in the detective's trash can. "We have him," Detective Chen said. "We have proof of intent, pattern of behavior, multiple victims. He's looking at serious prison time." "Where is he?" Catherine asked. "We don't know yet. He's in the wind, but we'll find him." August 14th. An arrest warrant was issued. Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. 14 counts. One for each victim they'd identified. But Darius Reed had disappeared, quit his job, abandoned his apartment. His car was found in long-term airport parking. He could be anywhere. The 4 women met again, this time at Catherine's apartment. They'd formed a bond through shared trauma, a support group of people who understood exactly what each other had survived. "He's gone," Angela said. "He knew we were looking. He ran." "He'll surface eventually," Jessica said. "People like him can't stop. He'll target someone else, use a new name, new photos, but same pattern." Rebecca looked at Catherine. "What do we do until then?" Catherine had been thinking about that. "We set a trap." The others stared at her. "He targets women like us. We know his pattern, his preferences, his technique. We create a profile that's irresistible to him. We draw him out." "That's dangerous," Jessica said. "Everything about this has been dangerous," Catherine replied. "He gave me HIV. He took my health, my peace, my ability to trust. I'm not letting him do it to anyone else. I'm finishing this." Detective Chen initially refused. "Too risky. If he's violent." "He's not violent. He's calculated. He uses intimacy as a weapon. I can handle this." After days of argument, Detective Chen agreed, but with conditions. Catherine would be wired. Officers would be nearby. The moment Darius appeared, they'd move in. Catherine created a new dating profile, different photos, different name. Jennifer Walsh, 52, teacher, divorced, everything designed to attract him. Then she waited. September passed. Nothing. October began. Still nothing. Maybe he'd left Boston. Maybe he'd changed his pattern. Maybe he'd stopped entirely. And then, September 18th, a message arrived. "I noticed you're in education. My mother was a high school principal." Catherine read it 3 times. The phrasing, the tone, the approach. It was him. She called Detective Chen. "I got him." The trap was set. The investigation expanded rapidly once Darius Reed's laptop was cracked. What they found was more horrifying than anyone anticipated. Detective Chen assembled her team, spread the evidence across a conference room table, dating profiles, victim timelines, medical records, the journal. Everything painted a picture of a man who'd turned revenge into religion. 47 dating profiles created between 2015 and 2019. 23 active conversations with women. 14 confirmed in-person meetings. 6 confirmed HIV transmissions through medical records. 8 women whose status remained unknown, either never tested or deceased before diagnosis. The journal provided the roadmap. Each entry detailed his process: target selection, courtship duration, transmission methodology, post-infection monitoring through social media, success measurements based on visible decline in victims' lives. He'd stalked them afterward, watched their Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, LinkedIn profiles, documented their suffering, their hospitalizations, their deaths, rated his satisfaction with each outcome. Subject 7, Sarah Mitchell, had died in 2017. Her journal entry included, "Deceased, AIDS-related pneumonia, satisfactory result, justice delivered." Subject 9, Linda Morrison, died in 2018. Suicide attempt followed by AIDS complications, excellent psychological destruction achieved, beyond initial projections. Subject 11, Helen Richardson, died in 2018. Single mother, children now orphaned, generational impact achieved, superior outcome. He'd celebrated their deaths. Detective Chen felt physically ill reading the entries. She'd worked homicide for 8 years, seen terrible things. But this calculated cruelty, this methodical destruction of human lives, this satisfaction in suffering, it was beyond anything she'd encountered. The tech team found more. Videos, hidden camera footage from his apartment, each weekend encounter filmed without consent, victims' faces during intimate moments, their trust captured, their violation documented, stored, categorized, watched repeatedly. Trophy collection. Detective Chen contacted the FBI. This crossed state lines, multiple jurisdictions, potential serial predator designation, federal charges possible. The victim list grew as they investigated. Women who'd filed missing person reports on similar profiles. Women who'd contacted Boston PD about ghosting incidents but weren't taken seriously. Women who'd posted in online forums about strange dating experiences. By August 20th, they'd identified 19 potential victims, 14 confirmed, 5 suspected but unable to verify. Detective Chen began the heartbreaking process of contacting them. Some knew their status, others didn't. Several broke down learning their infection was intentional, that they'd been targeted, hunted, that their health had been weaponized against them. One woman, 43-year-old Patricia Nguyen, hadn't known her status at all. Detective Chen's call led to testing. Positive result. Years of unknowing infection. She'd been transmitting to her new boyfriend without knowing. The guilt nearly destroyed her. "He did this to me?" Patricia kept asking. "On purpose? The man I spent a weekend with in 2018? The one who seemed so kind?" "Yes. We have evidence. His journal. His planning documents. He knew. He intended this." Patricia collapsed. The medical examiner worked with infectious disease specialists to establish transmission timelines. In cases where women had died, they reviewed medical records. 3 deaths were directly attributable to Darius Reed. 3 counts of murder through biological weapon use. The legal team debated charges. Intentional transmission of HIV was a felony in Massachusetts. But proving intent required evidence beyond reasonable doubt. The journal provided that. The stopped medication proved premeditation. The ghosting pattern demonstrated consciousness of guilt. 14 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. 3 counts of negligent homicide. 1 count of sexual assault by deception. Multiple counts of illegal video recording. Potential life sentence. But they had to find him first. September brought frustration. Darius Reed had vanished completely. No credit card activity. No phone usage. No social media presence. His family, mother deceased, father estranged, no siblings, hadn't heard from him in years. He'd prepared for this. The laptop showed research into disappearing, fake identity creation, international travel without detection. He'd planned his escape as carefully as he'd planned his crimes. The 4 primary victims, Catherine, Jessica, Rebecca, Angela, met weekly. What started a support group evolved into an investigation team. They analyzed his patterns, predicted his next moves, created profiles on every dating platform targeting their demographic. "He can't stop," Catherine said during one meeting. "This isn't just revenge anymore. It's compulsion. He'll surface." Jessica agreed. His journal shows escalation. Earlier entries are clinical. Later ones show excitement, anticipation. He's addicted to it. Rebecca pulled up his social media from before he'd deleted everything. "Look at the timing. He never went more than 3 months between victims. It's October. He ghosted his last target in August. He'll need another fix soon. Angela studied his victim selection. All divorced or widowed, all professionals, all describe themselves as cautious or traditional in their profiles. He has a type. We know what he's looking for. They created composite profiles, combined elements from all 14 victims: education level, communication style, values, caution level, everything designed to trigger his hunting instinct. Detective Chen initially opposed civilian involvement. "Your victims, you need to heal, not hunt." "We can't heal until he's stopped," Catherine replied. "Every day he's free, he's targeting someone else. Some other woman is getting messages right now, building trust, planning a trip. We have to stop it." The detective relented, but insisted on protocols. Any contact with suspected Darius profiles got reported immediately. No independent action. No confrontation without police presence. The women agreed, but they had their own plan forming. One they didn't share with Detective Chen. October 15th. Catherine's fake profile received a message. Different username, different photo. But the phrasing matched. The approach aligned. The personality mirrored previous patterns. "That's him," Jessica said, reviewing the message. "Are you sure?" Rebecca asked. Angela pulled up linguistic analysis she'd been running, compared sentence structures, word choices, punctuation patterns. 93% match. It's him. Catherine stared at the message. The man who'd infected her was back, using a new identity, already charming a new victim, her fake profile. Already. Planning weekend number 15. She called Detective Chen. "We have him." The detective reviewed the evidence. "It's circumstantial. Could be someone with similar communication style." "It's him. I know it's him. Even if it is, we can't arrest someone for sending a dating message. We need more. We need him to incriminate himself, confess, or we need to catch him attempting transmission." Catherine understood what that meant. "I have to meet him." "Absolutely not. It's the only way. We lure him to a meeting, wire me, record everything, get his confession, then you arrest him." "Too dangerous. If he recognizes you." "He won't. Different hair color, different makeup, different glasses. He saw me once for one weekend 5 months ago. He's seen 14 women. I'll be generic blonde woman to him." The plan took shape over the next week. Catherine would respond to his messages, build rapport, accept his eventual invitation, meet him at a location controlled by police, get him talking, record his confession. Simple, dangerous, necessary. Catherine sent her first response. "Thank you for noticing I'm a teacher. Not everyone appreciates education." His reply came within minutes. The courtship began again. This time, Catherine knew exactly what she was doing. Every word was calculated. Every response designed to move him closer to meeting her, closer to confession, closer to justice. She'd been his victim. Now she'd be his downfall. October 18th through November 1st. Catherine played her role perfectly. She became Jennifer Walsh, 52, recently divorced teacher, cautiously optimistic about dating. Every message crafted to appeal to Darius's hunting instincts. He responded exactly as predicted. Patient, attentive, building trust methodically. The same script he'd used 14 times before. Catherine recognized every beat, every manipulation, every false intimacy. But this time, she wasn't falling for it. She was documenting it. Detective Chen monitored every conversation, recorded every call, built the case piece by piece. The pattern recognition was damning. Identical phrasing to previous victims. Same questions. Same vulnerability performance. Same progression toward physical meeting. "He's following his script exactly," Detective Chen noted. "He doesn't even realize he has a script." Catherine did 3 video calls with him. Different appearance than May. Darker hair, different glasses, more makeup. He showed no recognition. To him, she was just another interchangeable victim. Another woman over 40. Another target. During the second video call, He told the same story about his mother being a teacher, word for word what he'd told Catherine 5 months earlier. She wanted to scream. Instead, she smiled and said, "That's lovely." October 28th. He made his move. "I'd love to meet you in person. I know a beautiful inn in Worcester, midpoint between us. Would you be comfortable with that?" Catherine's heart pounded. This was it. "That sounds nice. When were you thinking? Next weekend, November 1st through 3rd? Perfect." Detective Chen assembled her team. Worcester PD coordinated. They selected the inn carefully. Small, manageable. Every room on the second floor would house undercover officers. Catherine would have a panic button, audio recording devices, video surveillance in hallways. Nothing left to chance. The goal, get his confession on tape, preferably admission of previous infections. Any acknowledgement of intentional transmission. Then immediate arrest. "You don't have to do this," Detective Chen told Catherine the night before. "We can find another way." "There is no other way. He's careful. He'll never confess to a cop. He'll never slip up in interrogation. This is the only chance to get him." Maria came over that evening, held Catherine's hands. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. He took everything from me. My health, my peace, my future. I'm taking something from him. His freedom." November 1st, Friday, 2 o'clock. Catherine checked into the inn. Her room was on the second floor. Officers in rooms on both sides. Detective Chen in the room directly across the hall. Catherine was wired for sound and video. Hidden camera in her glasses. Recording device in her necklace. Panic button disguised as a bracelet. 5:30. He texted. "Just arrived. Room 207. Want to meet in the lobby at 6? Catherine's hands shook, typing her response. "See you then." She checked her appearance in the mirror. Different enough from May. Same enough to be attractive to his type. She looked like every other 40-something woman he'd targeted. Generic. Forgettable. Perfect. 6 o'clock. Catherine walked into the lobby. He stood near the fireplace. Different appearance than May. Different hair, facial hair, glasses. But unmistakably the same person. Same eyes. Same smile. Same predatory patience masked as kindness. "Jennifer?" "David, hi." Wrong name, but she played along. They hugged briefly. Catherine forced herself not to recoil. This man had infected her, given her a virus she'd carry forever. And he was hugging her like an old friend. Dinner at the inn restaurant. Detective Chen and 2 officers sat 3 tables away. Catherine wore the wire. Every word recorded, every gesture captured. He performed his role perfectly, attentive, asking questions, laughing at her jokes, the same routine, the same script. Everything designed to make her trust him, want him, lower her guard. Catherine played along, smiled, touched his hand, acted interested, all while rage burned beneath her performance. After dinner, he suggested a walk. "The grounds are beautiful at night. I'd love that." They walked through gardens behind the inn. Officers followed at a distance. Catherine kept him talking, asked about his past, his relationships, his views on trust and honesty in dating. "I think honesty is everything," he said. The irony was staggering. If you can't be honest with someone, what's the point? "Have you always been honest with the women you've dated?" Something flickered in his expression. Brief, guarded. "I try to be." "Try or succeed?" "Why do you ask?" Catherine stopped walking, turned to face him. "Because I think honesty matters, and I think some people lie about important things, things that could hurt others." He smiled, but his eyes were calculating. "You seem different than your messages. More direct. Maybe I'm just comfortable with you. Or maybe you're not who you say you are." Catherine's pulse spiked. He suspected something. She needed to redirect. "I'm exactly who I say I am. Jennifer Walsh, teacher, divorced, lonely, looking for connection with someone who understands what it's like to start over." He studied her face. Long moment. Then nodded. I understand that completely. They walked back to the inn, stood in the lobby. The moment of decision. Would you like to come to my room? He asked. Just to talk. I'm not assuming anything. Catherine knew this was the moment. Go to his room. Get him comfortable. Get him talking. Get the confession. I'd like that. They walked upstairs. Detective Chen and her team already in position. Ready to breach the moment Catherine signaled. Or the moment things went wrong. His room, standard layout, bed, chair, small table. He poured wine from a bottle he'd brought. Catherine pretended to drink. He did too. Hadn't drunk actual wine with victims since Catherine in May. They talked. Catherine steered conversation toward past relationships, his divorce, his experiences with online dating. Have you dated much online? She asked. Some. You meet interesting people. Some good, some disappointing. Anyone you really connected with? A few. He was being careful, vague. Catherine took a risk. Ever ghost anyone? His expression froze. Ghost? You know? Just disappear. Stop responding. Vanish. Why would you ask that? Because it happened to me. Met someone online. We spent a perfect weekend together. Then nothing. Phone disconnected. Profile deleted. Gone. Like I imagined the whole thing. He set down his wine. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? It was cruel. I kept wondering what I did wrong. If I wasn't attractive enough. If I disappointed him somehow. I'm sure you didn't. How would you know? Because you're lovely. Any man would be lucky. Catherine leaned forward. Even a man with HIV? Would he think I was lovely? The temperature in the room dropped. He stared at her. What did you just say? I asked if a man with HIV would find me attractive. Or would he see me as something else? A target, maybe. Someone to infect out of revenge. He stood. I think you should leave. Why? Did I hit too close to home? I don't know what you're talking about. I think you do. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because you've done it before. Multiple times. Different names. Different photos. Same pattern. Court a woman. Sleep with her. Infect her. Disappear. His face went white, then red. Who are you? Catherine removed her glasses. Let him see her face clearly. Don't you recognize me? May 17th through 19th. Boston. You called yourself David Matthews. I called myself Catherine Wells. That was my real name. Was David yours? Recognition dawned. Horror followed. Then something else. Something cold. He moved toward her. Not toward the door. Toward her. Catherine's hand went to her bracelet. The panic button. But before she could press it, he spoke. You think you're clever, don't you? You think you've caught me? His voice was different now. No warmth, no charm, just ice. Catherine Wells. Subject 14. Elementary teacher. Connecticut. You were easy. So desperate to be seen. So pathetically grateful for attention. You're confessing, Catherine said quietly. You know that, right? I'm wired. Police are listening. He laughed. I don't care. You want to know if I knew? Yes, I knew. I stopped taking my medication 3 weeks before you visited. Maximized my viral load. Timed it perfectly. Every touch was calculated for transmission. You were target 14, and you performed beautifully. There are others. 14 total. 3 dead. 8 infected. 3 unknown. You know what the best part is? Watching you all realize you trusted the wrong person. Watching your lives collapse. Sarah Mitchell died in a hospital, confused and alone. Linda Morrison killed herself. Helen Richardson left 3 orphaned children. And you? You'll take pills every day for the rest of your life, remembering the weekend you were stupid enough to believe someone like me could want someone like you. Catherine stood slowly. Why? Why do this? Because Diane Holloway did it to me. And every woman over 40 deserves to understand what that feels like. So you became her. You became the monster who hurt you. I became justice. You became a murderer. He smiled, that same smile from May, the one she'd mistaken for affection. And what are you going to do about it? Have me arrested? Put me in prison? I've already won, Catherine. You're infected. You'll carry my virus forever. Every pill you swallow, you'll think of me. Every doctor's appointment, every disclosure to future partners. I own you now. Something in Catherine snapped. Not planned, not calculated, pure rage. She saw the lamp on the bedside table, heavy, brass base. Her hands moved before her mind processed. The lamp was in Catherine's hands. Darius saw it. His eyes widened. Don't. Too late. The first blow caught him across the temple. He staggered. Blood appeared. His hand went to his head, came away red. You're insane, he gasped. The second blow was harder. His knees buckled. Catherine heard screaming, realized it was her own voice, words pouring out with each impact. You killed them. You destroyed us. You. The third blow knocked him to the floor. He was still conscious, still looking at her. You're just like me. Now. No. Catherine raised the lamp again. I'm the one who stopped you. The fourth blow. The fifth. She couldn't stop. Couldn't think. Could only feel 7 months of rage and grief and trauma exploding through her arms. Blood. So much blood. On the carpet. On her hands. On his face. He stopped moving. Catherine stood over him, breathing hard. The lamp still in her hands. Brass base slick with blood. Darius Reed lay on the floor, eyes open, staring at nothing. Dead. The door burst open. Detective Chen, 3 officers, weapons drawn, shouting. Drop it. Drop the weapon now. Catherine looked at the lamp, looked at her hands, looked at Darius. What had she done? The lamp fell from her fingers, thudded onto carpet. She raised her bloody hands. He confessed, she whispered. Did you hear him? He confessed to everything. Step away from the body, Detective Chen said. Her voice was professional, controlled, but her face showed shock. Catherine stepped back. Her legs gave out. She sat hard on the edge of the bed. Officers moved in, checked Darius for pulse, found none, called for medical examiner, secured the scene. Detective Chen approached Catherine. I need you to understand what I'm about to do. Catherine nodded, numb. Catherine Wells, you're under arrest for the murder of Darius Reed. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Do you understand these rights? Yes. Catherine, what happened? He confessed. He told me everything. 14 women, 3 dead. He said he did it deliberately. Stopped his medication. Maximized his viral load. He was proud of it. He said he owned me. That I'd think of him every day for the rest of my life. Catherine's voice was flat, empty. I couldn't let him do it again. Couldn't let him target number 15. I couldn't. Did you plan to kill him when you came here tonight? No. I planned to get his confession. To let you arrest him. To watch him go to prison. What changed? He smiled. That same smile from May. The one I thought meant he cared about me. And I realized it had always been mockery. Always been cruelty. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't scared. He was satisfied. And he was already planning his next victim. I saw it in his eyes. He'd escape. Or serve time and get out. And he'd do it again. Because men like him always do it again. So you killed him. So I stopped him. Catherine, you need to be very careful what you say right now. I know what I did. I killed him. With that lamp, multiple blows to the head. I remember every impact, every sound, every moment. I'm not claiming I didn't do it. I'm not claiming it was an accident. I killed him. You're admitting to murder. I'm admitting to stopping a serial predator who would have infected more women, who would have caused more deaths. Someone had to stop him. The justice system couldn't catch him. He was too careful, too smart. I stopped him the only way possible." Detective Chen looked at her for a long moment. "Did he attack you first? Did you fear for your life?" "Think carefully, Catherine." Catherine understood what she was being offered. Self-defense, a legal justification, a way out. She shook her head. "No, he didn't attack me. He was moving toward the door. I picked up the lamp. I hit him, again and again, until he stopped moving. That's not self-defense. That's rage. That's murder. Extreme emotional disturbance could mitigate. I know, but I'm not going to lie about what I did. He destroyed my life. I ended his. Both things are true." Officers took her hands, wiped the blood for evidence collection, photographed her, photographed the scene, the lamp, the body, the blood spatter, everything documented. Maria arrived within the hour, saw Catherine in handcuffs, started crying. "I killed him," Catherine said. "I'm sorry. I know this isn't what we planned, but he was going to do it again, to someone else, to 15, to 20, to however many it took before someone stopped him. So I stopped him." "Oh, Catherine. I'm not sorry I stopped him. I'm sorry I had to do it this way, but I'm not sorry he's dead." The medical examiner arrived, examined the body, confirmed death. 7 impacts to the head. Massive trauma. Death likely occurred after the 5th blow. The 6th and 7th were delivered to a corpse. Catherine heard that detail, felt sick. She'd kept hitting him even after he was dead. They transported her to the Worcester Police Department. Booked her. Fingerprinted. Photographed. Charged with murder in the 2nd degree. Bail set at $250,000. Maria posted it. Catherine went home that night. To her apartment. Showered. Watched Darius Reed's blood swirl down the drain. Pink water. Evidence of what she'd done. She sat on her couch, looked at her hands. Scrubbed clean but forever stained. She'd killed someone. Yes, he was a monster. Yes, he'd killed 3 women and infected 11 more. Yes, he would have continued. But she'd killed him. With her own hands. In rage. In violence. In a way that made her exactly what he'd accused her of being. A killer. The difference, she told herself, was motive. He killed for revenge. She killed for protection. Not self-protection. Protection of future victims. Women who'd never know how close they came to being subject. 15, 16, 17. That had to matter. Didn't it? Her phone rang. Detective Chen. The recording captured everything. His confession. His admission of intentional transmission. His description of his victims. His satisfaction with their suffering. His plan to continue. It's all documented. Does that help my case? It establishes motive and provocation. Extreme emotional disturbance. A good defense attorney could argue temporary insanity. That you snapped after hearing him confess to essentially murdering you. With a biological weapon. But I still killed him. Yes, you still killed him. Catherine hung up. Sat in silence. Thought about Sarah Mitchell, Linda Morrison, Helen Richardson. The 3 women Darius had killed who never got justice. Who died thinking they'd been unlucky, not murdered. They had justice now. Imperfect. Violent, but justice. And somewhere, victim 15 was going about her life, unaware that she'd been saved. That a weekend in Worcester she'd never take. A man named Darius she'd never meet. A virus she'd never contract. All prevented by 7 impacts of a brass lamp. Catherine took her evening dose of antiretrovirals. Swallowed the pills. Carried the virus Darius had given her. Carried the memory of killing him. Both things would stay with her forever. She was a murderer, and she'd do it again. November 2nd, 2019. Catherine sat with attorney David Berger. They have you on video killing him. DNA, confession. You're guilty. The question is what you're guilty of, murder or manslaughter. Did you plan to kill him? I planned to confront him. To get his confession, not to kill him. The killing happened when he confessed and mocked you. That's extreme provocation. Temporary loss of rational thought. That's manslaughter, not murder. While Catherine prepared her defense, Detective Chen investigated Darius's crimes posthumously. The laptop revealed everything. 47 dating profiles, 23 active conversations, 14 confirmed meetings. The journal documenting each infection, videos filmed without consent, research on transmission optimization. Most damning, communications with 12 other predators calling themselves the Balancers. Men across 7 states deliberately infecting women as revenge. Combined, they'd infected 63 women over 9 years, 14 deaths. The FBI arrested 8, 4 fled internationally. Media coverage exploded. Woman kills serial HIV predator. Headlines debated her actions. Some called her hero, others vigilante. Online petitions demanded charges be dropped. Donations poured in for legal defense. The 3 families of deceased victims responded publicly. Sarah Mitchell's daughter. "I'm grateful he's dead. My mother died thinking she had bad luck. He murdered her." Ms. Wells stopped him. Linda Morrison's sister. "Linda died believing she was dirty. He destroyed her psychologically. He deserved worse." Helen Richardson's son. "We're orphans because of him. If someone had stopped him earlier, my mother would be alive. I thank Ms. Wells." The surviving victims organized support. Legal defense fund, expert witnesses, protests with signs, "Survivors are not murderers." Prosecutor Thomas Rivera held firm. "Catherine Wells took a life. That's murder under law. We prosecute vigilante violence regardless of sympathy." December. Grand jury indicted Catherine for murder in the 2nd degree. Trial set for January 2020. Catherine spent holidays with her children, knowing she might not see them except through prison glass for years. Detective Chen compiled the complete victim list. 14 confirmed victims, 3 deceased, 11 surviving. The deceased received particular attention. Their families wanted acknowledgement. Their loved ones were murdered, not careless. Sarah Mitchell, 53 when she died September 2017. Hospital administrator, infected July 2015. Rapid decline, assumed her ex-husband had infected her years earlier, died of AIDS-related pneumonia. Her daughter, "My mother was methodical, careful. She was targeted. That's murder." Linda Morrison, 52 at death, January 2018, real estate agent, infected April 2016. 2 suicide attempts, died of pneumocystis pneumonia. Her sister, Linda, gave up, not because of the virus, but because of the betrayal. He destroyed her will to live. Helen Richardson, 47, died August 2018, elementary librarian, widowed, 3 children orphaned. Infected February 2017, died of toxoplasmosis. Her son, if Ms. Wells hadn't stopped him, how many more families would he have destroyed? The 11 survivors participated in Catherine's trial. Jessica Chen's daughter didn't speak to her for a year. Rebecca Santos's teenage daughter asked if she'd been a prostitute. Angela Morrison attempted suicide. Patricia Nguyen unknowingly transmitted HIV to her boyfriend. The guilt nearly destroyed her. The laptop revealed more horrors. Dating profiles spanning 4 years. Journal documenting infections. Videos filmed without consent. Communications with 12 other predators. The Balancers, who'd infected an estimated 63 women total. 8 were arrested. 4 fled internationally. The surviving victims organized support for Catherine. Legal defense fund. Expert witnesses. Victim statements. Protests outside the courthouse with signs, "Survivors are not murderers." All testified. Catherine stopped him for us. For women he'd already infected. For women he was planning to infect. She's not a murderer. She's a protector. The prosecution argued vigilante justice. The defense argued traumatized survivor. The jury would decide which version of Catherine Wells was true. January 21st, 2020. Opening statements. Prosecutor Thomas Rivera. Catherine Wells killed Darius Reed. She admits it. There's video, DNA, confession. She hit him 7 times with a brass lamp. 7 times. That's not one moment of rage. That's sustained violence. That's murder. Yes, he was terrible, but he deserved a trial, not execution. We are a nation of laws. Defense attorney David Berger. Catherine Wells is a survivor pushed beyond human tolerance. Darius Reed deliberately infected her with HIV. Disappeared. Then she discovered he'd infected 14 women, killed 3, and was planning to continue. When he confessed and mocked her suffering, something broke. That's not murder. That's temporary insanity. That's manslaughter. The prosecution showed the killing on video, 7 blows. The medical examiner testified death occurred after the 5th. She'd struck a corpse twice more. The defense called Dr. Elena Martinez, psychologist. Ms. Wells was suffering severe PTSD. When confronted with her attacker confessing and promising to continue, she dissociated. Her rational mind was offline. She acted on pure survival instinct. The surviving victims testified. Jessica, Rebecca, Angela, each describing Darius's predation. The audio of his confession played. The jury heard him admit everything. Mock suffering. Promise to continue. Catherine testified, I thought about the 3 dead women, the 11 infected, the woman he was already targeting. I knew if I didn't stop him, he'd do it again. The lamp was in my hands. I remember thinking, stop him, stop him. Then police were there. Cross-examination. You executed him. I stopped him. Jury deliberated 14 hours. February 11th. Murder, not guilty. Manslaughter, guilty. Extreme emotional disturbance, yes. Sentencing. February 15th. February 15th, 2020. Judge Marion Hathaway delivered Catherine's sentence. Ms. Wells, you took a human life, and the law demands accountability. However, the circumstances were extraordinary. You stopped a serial predator who'd killed 3 women and infected 11 others. This court must balance justice with mercy. I sentence you to 7 years imprisonment, with eligibility for parole in 4 years. Catherine served 3 years, 5 months at MCI Framingham, taught literacy to inmates, model prisoner, released May 2023. She moved to Vermont, worked as a private tutor. Convicted felons couldn't teach in public schools. Her HIV remained undetectable. Medication worked. She'd live a normal lifespan. Her children visited regularly. Megan brought grandchildren. Tyler called twice weekly. They understood what she'd survived and why she'd fought back. The other victims continued their advocacy. ITA, Intentional Transmission Awareness, changed laws in 17 states. Jessica Chen retired peacefully. Rebecca Santos counseled trauma survivors with her daughter. Angela Morrison's book remained required reading in criminal justice programs. Every November 1st, they held a memorial for Sarah Mitchell, Linda Morrison, and Helen Richardson, the 3 women Darius had killed. In 2024, Catherine participated in a documentary. The interviewer asked if she regretted killing him. I regret that it was necessary. But do I regret stopping him? No. Somewhere, there's a woman who's lonely and trying online dating. Darius Reed won't be there to find her. That woman gets to live. That's worth everything I've lost. November 2024. Catherine walked through Vermont woods. Morning light filtered through trees. She swallowed her antiretrovirals, pills she'd take forever. She lived with HIV, with nightmares, with the memory of 7 blows. But she lived. And the women he would have targeted, subjects 15, 16, 17, also lived, uninfected, safe, unaware. Catherine kept walking, carrying her virus, carrying her history, carrying her survival. Thank you for watching this documentary to the very end. Stories like Catherine's are difficult to hear, but they're essential to share. They protect people. They educate communities. They save lives. If this story impacted you, please remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more investigative documentaries, and share this with people you care about. Your share could reach someone who needs to hear this message. Someone who's about to make a decision about online dating. Someone who's currently in a situation similar to Catherine's. Someone who could be saved by the awareness this story provides. Leave a comment below with your thoughts, your location, your reaction. Let's build a community committed to protecting each other from predators who weaponize trust. Stay safe, stay vigilant. And remember, careful people can still be targeted. It's never the victim's fault.